Welcome, friends. Welcome to our first live event. I'm super excited to be doing with you, my members, this live event, this workshop, this cheesecake workshop. You know, I love making cheesecakes. I love doing cheesecakes. It's one of my favorite recipes. It's also one of your favorite recipes. So that's why I wanted to start this series of events making um, a basic cheesecake for you. What I want with this is to create like an anchor recipe for you so you can make any cheesecake anytime, no matter the ingredients you have in your hands. So let's get started. Uh, I'm going to maybe wait like 2 or 3 minutes. Yes, yes, because people is still entering the live streaming. Let me see a question here. Oh, hi, Eva. Hi from San Juan. Sure. That's the idea. You can jump in anytime, and remember that you can see the replay because the link will be in the cheesecake recipe post. So anytime you can go back there and watch the replay. And of course, you can ask me any questions later. So let's get started. I have my notes here because I don't want to forget anything. You will see Camille here in the comment sections in the chat. She will be the moderator, and you can ask me any questions anytime. Oops, I don't know what happened there, but you can ask me any questions anytime. Camille again will be moderating them. Another thing, remember that English is not my first language. So please, if you don't understand something or if I am talking too fast, you can raise your hand and ask me anything. And yes, this will be maybe kind of a Spanglish workshop. So the workshop will be in English, but if you have any questions in Spanish, you're more than welcome to ask them in Spanish, and I will be answering them in Spanish as well, and then translate everything for you. Okay? Nice. So let's get started. First, we are going to start with our crust. I have here my food processor, and I like to break the graham crackers right in top of the bowl. And you want to break the crackers roughly. And I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. If you need the ingredients amounts in grams, remember that you can go to the recipe where you're going to find the ingredients in cups and also by weight. So I'm going to pulse this a couple of times, maybe once more. And you want the crackers to be, roughly chopped. You are going to move around the crumbs at the bottom. And then pulse again a few times. That's it. You're looking for something like this. If you can see the crumbs, you can still see big chunks of crackers. Maybe you can use your hands and break the biggest ones. I have here, yes, I have a second camera, so I can show you at some points textures and things that I want for you to see. And this is one of them. I want that you see the texture. I think you have to, sorry, technical problems. You have to add the camera to the stage. This is our first time doing this, so. Okay. Give me 1 second, please. I'm going to check this. I hate. Okay, I don't know what's happening. I think the second camera is not working at all. So, okay, now we are going to add the butter. And you want to add the butter while the processor is running. And this is what you're looking for. As you can see, it's not super oily. It's still bright yellow. And it's thick. Because if the butter is too oily, the crumbs won't absorb it well. So let's do this. As soon as you add the butter, just stop. And scrape again. You can break any large pieces of crackers. And pulse a few times more. Okay, I think that's it. So you're looking for a texture like wet sand. I don't know. Oh, nice. You see here, it's roughly chopped or roughly ground. It's not super fine. And the reason for that is that you don't want the crumbs too fine, because if they are too fine, they won't absorb the butter well. And you will end up with a very oily crust. So I have my pan here. Today I'm gonna be making like a petite cheesecake, because this will be like the 4th cheesecake I have made this month. So I'm going to do a smaller one, but of course all these tips works for any kind of cheesecake, like small cheesecakes, regular sized cheesecakes, cheesecake bars, cheesecake tarts, everything. So I like to use butter to use it as a glue in the pan. And I like to stick a piece of parchment paper around. I think I lost the little piece that goes here, but you get the idea. This is to make the cheesecake look very pretty and smooth on the sides, but it's completely optional. So perfect. And I'm going to scrape my crumbs. You can remove any big chunks of crackers. Okay, just distribute the crackers evenly, and then I like to use like a flat bottom utensil, like this measuring cup, to press the crumbs around. And it's important to press slightly, not super firm, because if you press too much, again, the butter won't be well absorbed. And I like to take my time here. I always like, you can bring the crumbs all the way to the top, or just leave the crumbs at the bottom. I like to bring them like in the, I don't know, like a, I want to, I love to create like a wave in the sides. So I don't know if that makes sense. And press, make sure the bottom is well covered. Oh, second camera working well. I like to start on the sides to make sure I'm covering the sides, and then cover the bottom. Super. I'm having trouble here with a big chunk. That's that. So this is it. I'm going to bake this for about 5 to 6 minutes. And I like to use a baking sheet. Let me remove this. I like to use a baking sheet so I'm not touching the pan. And I also like to cover the pan with, I was lucky enough to find this super wide aluminum foil. It's so wide, it covers the pan perfectly. I can just wrap the whole pan. And this is to prevent the water entering the pan. And wrap it tightly. And then another trick is to place the pan inside these roasting bags. You can't use any bag if it's plastic, but these are specially designed for high heat in the oven. Like that. If it's a bigger pan, you may use some clamps or paper clips to secure the back, but this is a small pan, so it's getting well covered. Perfect. To the oven, about 5 minutes. I need someone to put my timer 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to remove the food processor. And hold this. Because now we are going to work on our cheesecake filling. To put this here. I like to work my filling on the stand mixer. Of course, you can use your hand electric mixer as well. Let me read the comments. Hi, Patricia. Yes, that foil, it's a godsend. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks here. Okay. First, the cream cheese. It's, of course, the star of the show. The cream cheese and actually all the ingredients should be at room temperature. That's super, super important in order to prevent burnt spots or cracks or even the cheesecake deflating. Because if the ingredients are at room temperature, you are not going to overmix. So that's another tip. That's another important thing when making cheesecakes. You never overmix your batter. You just want to mix it gently and just enough to make it to make everything come together. And I want to show you this trick. I'm going to use this spatula. When you take your cream cheese out, because let's face it, who has time, to be taking cream cheeses out like 2 or 3 hours uh, before you start working on your filling. I like to take it out about maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, because it's important that your cream cheese is not too warm. If it's too warm, it I don't know it it's greasy. You know that film of fat that sometimes you can taste in some baked foods? That could happen to cream cheese. So I just take it out maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes before I know I'm going to start working on the filling. And then as soon as the cream cheese is soft, I just like to press it. I, I think you can see this, right? I like to press it down. You can use a spatula or a butter knife, because if you press the block thinly, it's going to become, it's going to come down to room temperature faster. Okay, super. Now, let's add the cream cheese. I'm going to remove this. I like to smooth it out. So, another little secret of mine is working with the whisk instead of the beaters. I prefer making cheesecakes with this attachment because, oops, okay, time's up. I have to take out the crust. I forgot to mention that I baked my crust at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to increase my oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, I was telling you about this little secret. I prefer to use the whisk attachment instead of the beaters because I feel the wires break better the cream cheese and create less lumps, and it brings in a just a tiny bit of air. I know I have said a lot that you don't want to incorporate too much air to the batter, to the filling, but this is just enough to make the cheesecake very decadent but still light. So our little secret now. Don't tell anyone. Okay, you're going to beat the cream cheese for about 3 to 4 minutes, 2 to 4 minutes in speed 2 in the KitchenAid. Any questions? I'm going to take questions throughout the workshop, but also we are going to make some pauses to answer questions at the moment. Yes, Eva, I agree with you. That was a big game changer for me too. Yes. Okay. Sometimes I like to give it this a burst. So if I see the cream cheese doing this, like it's getting stuck in the wire, I like to give it a burst of maybe 20 to 30 seconds. And then bring it down again to stick to. And you will see that as soon as you understand this recipe, you will be making cheesecakes in no time. The, the most time consuming part of making a cheesecake is actually waiting 1 day, even 2 days to serve because making a cheesecake is pretty easy. And of course, it's very, you're gonna need very basic ingredients. You don't need fancy ingredients or ingredients that are hard to find. Well, maybe eggs right now, but if you can find eggs, you can make a very, very delicious cheesecake. I'm going to give it another burst. Okay. And for the petite cheesecake or smaller cheesecake, I'm using 3 blocks of cream cheese. But remember that you have all the amounts in cups and grams in the post, not only in the ultimate cheesecake post, but in all the cheesecake posts. Okay, I think the cream cheese is ready. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and I'm going to bring down the speed to 1. This is You can add between 1 and 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, depending of the cheesecake you are making. If you're working with fruity flavors or a basic vanilla cheesecake, you can go all the way with 3. If you're working with chocolate, caramel, peanut butter, dulce de leche flavors that are warmer, maybe you can use just 1. I always add lemon juice uh, to my cream cheese because lemon juice, brightens the cream cheese, makes the tangy notes um, taste even more. I don't know, it's a really nice combination to always add that bit of lemon juice to your cream cheese. And you let the lemon juice incorporate with the cream cheese. And let's add a bit of vanilla. For everyday baking, I use this Kirkland vanilla from Costco. It's super good. I'm adding 1 teaspoon. And let's add coconut milk. The coconut milk helps the filling get lighter, and the total amount of time of mixing time will be about 5 minutes, more or less 5 to 7 minutes. So it mixes pretty quickly. Um, I like to add coconut milk to lighten the filling. You can use heavy cream, but personally, I don't love like the texture and heaviness of heavy cream. And trust me, unless you have a very discerning palate, you won't taste the coconut. It's just to make the filling lighter. So now I'm going to add the sugar. I forgot my measuring. You want to add the sugar slowly, very slowly, because you want the sugar to dissolve into the cream cheese. I'm using natural granulated sugar. You can use white regular sugar as well. As soon as the sugar has been incorporated, you're going to stop and scrape the bowl, the sides, the bottom. This is super important because you don't want big lumps of cream cheese in the filling that causes burnt spots, that causes bubbles, and you don't want that. Okay. Trust me, I'm not this organized in my everyday. I'm always kind of messy. Eh, Walking around my kitchen, running from my pantry to my fridge, serving ingredients at the moment. Maybe that's a big no. Okay, I'm going to add now the bit of flour, and again, just mix to incorporate. Okay, I just chopped the mixer just to explain you something about the eggs. The last thing you want to add is the eggs because again, you don't want to incorporate too much air, and if you mix a lot the eggs, they will start to expand, and you don't want that. Uh, You know that in my cheesecakes you have to use egg yolks. This is I don't know, a little secret, another little secret to separate the eggs faster. I like to crack the egg on the bowl and then with my clean hands scoop out the yolk. It's way easier and safer. Scoop out the yolk. You don't need like special gadgets. You don't need to do this with the shell still on. You're seeing, right? And I'm going to rinse my hands. And you're going to pour the egg whites in this plastic freezer bag. And you're going to freeze them. Egg whites freezes beautifully. And you can make later a meringue or use them for waffles. Okay, now we are going to add the eggs. Again, speed 1, the slowest. And just add 1 and wait until it incorporates before adding the next one. Oops, 2 went down. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to scrape the bowl once more. Again, making sure there are no big lumps of cream cheese at the bottom. Perfect. Do you use egg whites or egg yolks for most of your? Yes, I use both egg whites and egg yolks in all of my recipes. If I am looking for a light airy texture, I will use more the egg whites. And if I want to create a very custardy texture, like for a curd or a flan, I will use most of the yolks. Okay, so this is ready. And as you can see, well, you'll see it now when I pour the batter. Let me bring this to the out of sight. You'll see the batter now. It's pretty runny. It's not super thick. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so I love baking cheesecakes on a bain marie. That's why I do all this stuff. I don't mind necessarily a slightly soft crust. If you prefer a very hard, crisp crust, you can place the baking sheet with water beneath the cheesecake instead of putting the cheesecake inside the baking tray or roasting pan that you're using. I prefer to bake the cheesecake directly in the water, so that's just a personal preference. I'm going to transfer this to the oven. Actually, and you want to bake the cheesecake for 5 minutes in that 425 degrees, and then decrease 5 to 7 minutes depending on the size of the cheesecake. This will be about 5 minutes, and then decrease the temperature to 275 degrees Fahrenheit, and you will bake the cheesecake for about 1 hour, 1 hour and 10 minutes. A big cheesecake like spring form of 9 inches to 7 or 7 inches like this one. If you're making bars or are making a cheesecake tart, you will bake the cheesecake for about 10 to 15 minutes because it's pretty thin, so it will bake really fast. This, even if this one is smaller, the depth is, it's pretty tall, so you will need to bake it for about an hour or maybe more. So, hi, Pam. Hi. Nice to see you here. Wow. Nice. Okay. And I have, of course, a ready cheesecake. Welcome to my fridge. This is the final cheesecake, and I'm super proud of my cheesecakes because, as you can see, it has no burnt spots, it's not sinking, it doesn't have any cracks. It's pretty perfect for me. I love the smooth surface. Actually, this has one indentation here because when I was taking out the cheesecake, I was on the phone with my mom. I forgot to use a plate and I used my hand to turn it over, so that's why. But yes, this is it. And I have here the blueberry compote. Again, you can use your favorite fruit to make this compote. You can use biscuit spread, dulce de leche. That's a good one that I have used a lot of times for my family and friends. And you can make a meringue. You know I love meringues on my cheesecakes. Or whipped cream, of course, or salted caramel, like my pumpkin and salted caramel cheesecake. So this is it. Let's dig in. Okay, I'm going to cut a piece. It's super smooth. I always like to wipe the knife. Ooh, look how smooth. Super creamy. Let me find a plate. I'm going to use actually one of my personal plates. It has yellow butterflies. And this cheesecake is super smooth because I just bake it this morning. You're seeing the texture, right? Mm. It's super creamy. You will see it's like eating ice cream. I love that about cheesecakes. Mm. Hmm. Super smooth, creamy. It's the best recipe, the best dessert. Totally worth the effort. For me, it's really hard to order cheesecakes in restaurants because they never have this amazing texture. Mm. So, do you have any questions for me? Let me see the chat. I used a 7 inches spring form. Um, I usually use a 9 inches spring form, but for the workshop, I decided to use that smaller size. And I think it's perfect because every time you go to a dinner party, sometimes there are other desserts as well. Also, people is not eating big pieces of dessert. So this size is super perfect for a small dinner party or for your family, and it's really cute. Let me see if there are more questions. Yes, Patricia, please let us know if you try it. I know you're going to love it. And you know how it is. This is a bit messy. I was trying to show you guys everything around, but you can read the comprehensive post I put together for you. And if you have any questions on the process, you can write me through Instagram or email, and I can answer any of your questions. Let me see. Okay, so I think we're good. Thanks so much for joining me today, and let's keep cooking, let's keep baking, and let's keep having fun. Bye. Love you. Bye. Yes. Bye, guys.